Michael Irvin just went nuclear on live TV after Rex Ryan tried to clown Shedeur Sanders for that viral miming clip. Irvin said, "That's not arrogance. That's confidence the league needs." The playmaker wasn't holding back. And the way he checked Rex in front of everyone had the entire panel shocked.
Nigga, you loud, Rex. As a coach, you're loud as a coach, and especially as a commentator, you're very loud and you take bold takes. So when Mace asks, was it clout chasing? I don't think it's clout chasing. It's just what he do. He's loud. He talks a lot. He makes bold predictions and bold statements, and he's a colorful person as far as commentating is concerned. We're offended because, nigga, it's Shedeur, mind your business.
Yeah.
But this is what he kind of do. You know what I'm saying? Makes bold predictions, make bold statements, say a lot of outlandish shit, say that Mark Sanchez is the...
Michael Irvin absolutely destroyed Rex Ryan on live TV defending Shedeur Sanders. And bro, this wasn't just some casual defense. This was personal. The NFL Hall of Famer called out the double standards, the loudmouth predictions, and exposed exactly why everyone keeps coming for Shedeur's neck before he's even played a single snap. Rex Ryan's been loud his whole career, making bold predictions and getting tattoos for Mark Sanchez. But the second Shedeur shows confidence, it's a problem. And when Cameron joined the conversation and dropped that bomb about the Sanders last name being a trigger for people, man, you need to hear this because it changes everything.
I'm baffled. I'm baffled. If he said anything else, we would jump on it and be all over him like, well, how come you don't have any confidence? That's why you're not playing. So each man, every man that's not on the football field, every man in the National Football League has to believe that he is good enough to play in the National Football League, to even be in the league. So anything else that comes from him, I would be shocked. Anything outside of, yes, I'm looking around, I'm seeing, and absolutely, I can play in this league. I would be shocked. I wouldn't want to play with anybody else that said anything else, to be totally honest with you.
Yeah, like what else was he supposed to say? I'm looking around. I don't belong here. Can somebody move?
So let's get right into it, because this whole situation is wild. You got Rex Ryan out here talking about Shedeur Sanders making his usual loud takes on Get Up, and the media's eating it up like it's some groundbreaking analysis. But here's the thing. Michael Irvin wasn't having any of it. And when Playmaker speaks, you better listen.
Listen, man, this is the way this shit go when it's genetics. Deion Sanders is the nigga father. They flashy. They talk shit. I talk shit. I would probably say some shit like that. You get what I'm saying? I'm older now, but I know the 22-year-old me or 23-year-old me. I would have said worse.
Yeah.
I would have said shit.
My facial expression would have got me kicked out.
Yeah, exactly. I'm seeing this as a grown, mature man. But I know 35-year-old Cam would have been like, fuck is wrong with these niggas out here? So I understand it. But to me, what they're trying to do is humble the Sanders last name because their star is bright. I'm just saying, Shedeur's been on TV since he was 3. These niggas had number one reality. These niggas is used to the lights. And to me, they're trying to dim their light.
Irvin starts off by breaking down exactly who Rex Ryan is. And look, he's not being disrespectful. He's just stating facts. Rex has been loud. Like, this man was out here as the Jets coach every single year, saying, "This is the year we're going to the Super Bowl. This is the year we're winning it all." Year after year after year. And what happened? They never got there. Not once.
And to me, they're trying to dim their light.
Very, very good takes. This was a great discussion. But one thing I will just add really quick, I do think that just in general, and I know it's football, it's never supposed to be easy, but I do think the media should have more grace because to Cam's point, Shedeur has never even got to play yet for them. So all these comments and these things and saying he should do this and he should do that, at least you guys can have your different takes and come together and still say he deserves a chance. I think that these people are counting him out before he's even had the chance to be counted in.
But here's where it gets interesting. Irvin says he did his homework on Rex a long time ago. He watched how this man operated. Always loud, always making bold predictions, always in the headlines. And you know what? That's just Rex being Rex. He's a colorful commentator. He takes bold stances. He says outlandish stuff. This is the same dude who got a tattoo of Mark Sanchez after the Jets made it to the championship game. A tattoo of Mark Sanchez. Let that sink in for a second. So when people started asking, is Rex clout chasing by going at Shedeur? Irvin's response was perfect. He said, nah, this isn't clout chasing. This is just what Rex does. He's loud. He makes bold statements. He talks a lot. That's his brand. We're only offended because it's about Shedeur, and we care about the kid. But Rex? He's been doing this his whole career. Now, let's talk about what actually started all this drama. Shedeur Sanders did an interview with ESPN, right? And all the kid said, all he said, was that he's ready to play right now. He looked around the league, saw the quarterback play, and said he believes he's capable of doing better than some of what he's seeing out there. That's it. That's literally all he said. And the media lost it. They started criticizing him, questioning his confidence, acting like he committed some cardinal sin by believing in himself. And this is where Michael Irvin gets fired up, and honestly, this part gave me chills. He says he's baffled, completely baffled. Because if Shedeur had said anything else, if he'd shown even a hint of doubt, those same critics would have jumped all over him saying, well, how come you don't have any confidence? That's why you're not playing. Think about that for a second. It's a lose-lose situation. If Shedeur shows confidence, he's arrogant. If he shows doubt, he's weak. There's literally no right answer for this kid in the media's eyes. And Irvin breaks it down perfectly. Every single man in the National Football League has to believe he's good enough to play. You can't even be in the league without that belief. So why is it a problem when Shedeur says it out loud? Irvin says anything else that came out of Shedeur's mouth would have shocked him. Like, what was the kid supposed to say? I'm looking around and I don't belong here. Can somebody move me out? Come on now. That's ridiculous. And Irvin even takes it further. He says he wouldn't want to play with anybody who didn't have that confidence. Because if you're not confident in yourself, how are you going to perform when the lights are brightest? And here's the kicker that a lot of people aren't talking about. Irvin mentions that when you really study the situation, when you look at a 5'11" quarterback competing in today's NFL, you realize there are real limitations. When the bigger linemen come in during the playoffs, when the pressure's at its highest, that height becomes a legitimate concern. So preparing for someone who has those physical limitations to be your QB1 if you're thinking about winning, that's just not the smart move. And Irvin's hinting at something here. Maybe the critics know Shedeur's time is coming, and they're getting their shots in now before he proves them all wrong. But let's take this even deeper, because the conversation got real when they started talking about context. One of the guys on the panel, and this is so important, brings up a hypothetical. He says, imagine if Shedeur had called a press conference out of the blue, just called it randomly, stood up there and said, I'm calling this press conference because I see the quarterback play in the NFL, and I'm better than all of them. Now, that would be different. That would be wild. That would be crossing a line, but that's not what happened. Shedeur was answering a question. Someone asked him how he felt about being QB3, if he felt capable of playing in the NFL, and he answered honestly. He didn't call a press conference to talk trash. He didn't go out of his way to start drama. He just answered a question with confidence, the way any competitor should. And this is where the double standard becomes so obvious, it's painful. These same critics who are destroying Shedeur for showing confidence, they praise other quarterbacks for the exact same attitude. They call it moxie, or that dog in him, when it's someone else. But when it's Shedeur Sanders, son of Deion Sanders, suddenly it's a problem. Suddenly it's arrogance. Suddenly he needs to stay humble and wait his turn. The panel even discusses how Shedeur could have answered the question differently. One suggestion was to just say, "Look, I'm ready to play right now," without the comparison to other quarterbacks in the league. Just leave it at that. And you know what? That's fair advice. Maybe the wording could have been slightly different. But here's the reality. Even if Shedeur had worded it perfectly, they still would have found something to criticize. Because this isn't really about what he said. It's about who he is. And that's the part that's really messing with me, bro. Because when you step back and look at the whole picture, you realize this kid literally cannot win in the court of public opinion right now. He's being judged before he's even taken a meaningful snap in the NFL. He's being criticized for confidence that every other rookie is expected to have. And why? Well, the panel brings up something that happened earlier in the preseason. Shedeur had 2 really good games, and after one of them, he ran down to a reporter and said something like, "See? Told you. You keep writing bad stuff about me." And one of the guys on the panel admits he wished Shedeur hadn't said that. He says, "Don't give them ammunition. Don't give them a reason to come at you even harder." And I get that advice. I really do. From a strategic standpoint, sometimes silence is the better move. Sometimes you gotta let your play do all the talking and ignore the noise. But at the same time, how much is this kid supposed to take? How many articles, how many hot takes, how many people doubting him before he's allowed to clap back even a little bit? Here's what really gets me about this whole situation. The criticism isn't coming from a place of genuine football analysis. It's personal. It's about the last name. It's about the fact that Deion Sanders is his father. It's about the fact that the Sanders family is flashy, confident, and unapologetically themselves. And some people just can't stand that. Because let's be real, if this was any other quarterback saying the exact same thing, it wouldn't be a story. It would be a footnote in a preseason interview. But because it's Shedeur Sanders, it's national news. It's debate show content for a week straight. It's Rex Ryan making bold predictions and Michael Irvin having to defend basic confidence as if it's some controversial take. And Michael Irvin sees right through it. He understands that every man who makes it to the NFL has to have that belief. He played at the highest level. He knows what it takes mentally to compete at that stage. And he's not about to sit there and let people destroy a young player's confidence before he even gets his shot. The beautiful thing about Irvin's defense is that it's not emotional or irrational. He's breaking down the facts. He's explaining the psychology of being an NFL player. He's calling out the hypocrisy. And he's doing it in a way that makes you realize, damn, he's absolutely right. Why are we holding Shedeur to a different standard? What has he actually done wrong besides believe in himself? So, here we are, watching this kid navigate an impossible situation, and all we can do is wait and see what happens when he actually gets on the field. Because that's when all the talk stops mattering. That's when the doubters either get proven right or get proven wrong. And honestly, something tells me a lot of people are going to have to eat their words. But hold up, because what Cameron said next about the Sanders name, that's when this whole conversation reached another level. Now, this is where the conversation gets spicy, because Cameron jumps in and he's not holding anything back. And you know, when Cam gets talking, he's gonna keep it 100. He starts off by saying, look, when it comes to genetics, when your father is Deion Sanders, prime time, you're gonna be flashy. You're gonna talk. That's just how it is. And Cam gets real personal with it. He says, I talk. I would probably say some stuff like that too. And then he hits you with the truth bomb. He's older now, more mature, but the 22-year-old version of him, the 23-year-old Cameron, man, he says he would have said worse than what Shedeur said. Way worse. His facial expression alone would have gotten him kicked out of interviews. And that's what people don't understand. Shedeur is a young man with confidence, with swagger. coming from a family that's been in the spotlight forever. He's not going to be boring. He's not going to give you the generic, we're taking it one game at a time nonsense. He's going to be real. He's going to be himself. And apparently, that's too much for some people to handle. But Cam doesn't just talk about Shedeur's personality. He goes deeper. He says what they're really trying to do is humble the Sanders last name. And bro, when he said that, everything clicked. Because the Sanders family star is bright. Shedeur's been on TV since he was 3 years old. These guys grew up in reality TV, in the spotlight, #1 in everything they do. They're used to the lights. They're used to the attention. They're used to being excellent and showing it. And the media? They're trying to dim that light. They're trying to bring them down a peg. They're trying to make them normal when the Sanders family has never been normal. And that's what makes them special. Think about it like this. Deion Sanders was one of the most electrifying players in NFL history. Primetime didn't just play the game, he put on a show. He talked trash, he backed it up, he made football entertaining. And some people loved him for it, but a lot of people hated him for it. They said he was cocky, arrogant, too flashy, needed to humble himself. But you know what Deion did? He kept being himself and became a legend. Now his son comes along with that same energy, that same confidence, that same swagger, and people are shocked. Nah, this is genetics. This is how you're raised. When your father is one of the greatest to ever do it, and he teaches you to believe in yourself, to be confident, to own your greatness, you're gonna carry yourself a certain way. And Shedeur does exactly that. But here's where it gets really interesting, and this is the part that's gonna make you think. One of the panelists brings up a point about grace. She says the media needs to have more grace with Shedeur because, and this is key, he hasn't even played yet. All these comments, all this criticism, all these people saying he should do this or say that or act this way, and the kid hasn't even gotten his chance yet. They're counting him out before he's even been counted in. They're writing his story before he's played a single chapter. And honestly, it feels like it's become a trend to hate on Shedeur Sanders. Like it's the cool thing to do. Like if you're not criticizing him, you're not paying attention. And when she said that, someone on the panel said it seems organized. Now that word hit different. Organized. Like there's a coordinated effort to bring this kid down before he even gets started. And whether that's true or not, you can't deny that the volume of criticism, the intensity of the hate, the constant questioning of everything he does, it's way beyond what a typical rookie quarterback faces. Michael Irvin brings it home with something that's so real, it hurts. He says the Sanders last name is like a trigger for people. And man, that's the truth right there. For a lot of people in the media, in the NFL world, even in the fan base, that last name triggers something deep. Maybe it's jealousy. Maybe it's resentment. Maybe they're still mad at Deion for being so great and so confident about it. Whatever it is, they see that Sanders name and they immediately want to tear it down. Irvin says it's so obvious that he's surprised people act like they can't see it. And he's right. It is obvious. When you watch how Shedeur is covered compared to other rookies, when you see the standards he's held to versus everyone else, when you notice that every little thing he does becomes a national story, you realize this isn't normal. This isn't fair. This is personal. One of the panelists drops some wisdom that really resonated with me. He says when you go into a place and people don't like you, you can feel it. You know when they've been talking about you, there's just a feeling in the air. And he says he's been hated on for a long time, so he can sense it when he sees it. And watching how the media treats Shedeur, he can sense that hate from a mile away. But here's the beautiful thing about all of this. And this is why I actually think Shedeur's gonna be fine. The kid has been dealing with this his whole life. He's been in the spotlight since he was a child. He's been criticized, doubted, hated on, all while his father's been coaching him and preparing him for exactly these moments. Shedeur isn't fragile. He's not going to break because some talking heads on TV question his confidence. If anything, It's probably motivating him even more. And let's bring it back to the Rex Ryan situation for a second, because this is important. Rex made his comments, the media ran with it, people started debating it, but at the end of the day, Rex is just doing what Rex does. He's loud. He makes bold takes. That's his job as a commentator. The real issue isn't Rex Ryan. The real issue is the system that amplifies any criticism of Shedeur Sanders while downplaying criticism of other quarterbacks. Michael Irvin defending. Shedeur isn't just about one interview or one comment. It's about standing up for what's right. It's about calling out double standards. It's about protecting a young player who's being held to impossible standards before he's even gotten his shot. And honestly, we need more people like Michael Irvin, who are willing to speak truth, even when it's unpopular. Because here's what's going to happen. Shedeur's day is coming. Whether it's this season or next season, his opportunity will arrive. And when it does, all this noise is going to fade away. All these hot takes are going to age like milk. All these critics are going to be real quiet when he's out there making plays and proving he belongs. The Sanders name carries weight. It carries expectations. It carries history. But it also carries excellence. And Shedeur Sanders has been preparing his whole life to live up to that name and make it his own. So yeah, the media can keep throwing shade. Rex Ryan can keep making his bold predictions. The critics can keep questioning everything he does. But at the end of the day, football is played on the field, not on TV debate shows. And when Shedeur finally gets his chance to show what he can really do, man, it's going to be special. Because he's not just playing for himself. He's playing for everyone who's ever been doubted. He's playing for everyone who's been told they're too confident, too flashy, too much. He's playing to prove that the Sanders legacy isn't just about Deion. It's about the whole family carrying that torch forward. So, to everyone who's been hating, to everyone who's been doubting, to everyone who's been trying to dim that Sanders light, you better get ready. Because Shedeur Sanders is coming, and he's bringing all that confidence, all that swagger, all that primetime energy with him. And honestly, I can't wait to watch. So what do you think? Is the media being unfair to Shedeur Sanders? Is the criticism justified, or is it personal? And when he finally gets his shot in the NFL, do you think he's going to prove all the doubters wrong? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because I want to hear from y'all on this one. And look, if you made it this far, you're clearly invested in this story just like I am. So do me a favor. Smash that subscribe button and turn on notifications because we're going to be following Shedeur's journey every step of the way. When he gets his chance, when he makes his first start, when he silences all the critics, we're going to be here breaking it all down. So subscribe, hit that bell, and let's keep this conversation going. Until next time, stay locked in. Till next time, stay locked in.